Hello guys, how are we doing and welcome back to the channel. Today is another Help with Harrz episode where I review subscribers and channel members' content or VODs to hopefully make them better at Black Ops 6 ranked play. Today we are reviewing a Plat 2 player, or at least they were at the time of the recording. It's on Skyline Hardpoint and they use an SMG. The focus of today's video is going to be on map awareness, how to read the minimap effectively, when to look at the minimap, and a bunch of other things we noticed along the way. So if you struggle with Skyline Hardpoint, if you're an SMG player, or if you're in Plat 2 and you're struggling to get out of that little hard stuck area, this video is going to benefit you, I hope. Before we get into the VOD review itself, we're going to first of all take a look at the form that you have to submit, so just to find out what they want us to focus on. Then going to look at the VOD review and then give a little bit of a summary at the end, along with a predicted rank by the end of Season 2, now that we're in Season 2. Before we get into it, I wanted to shout out a few new Tier 1 channel members to the channel. First of all, we've got John, Bailey, Greg, and then not that guy's recently resubscribed or membershiped, whatever you want to call it. Now they're here for 5 months. I have got a bunch of people who have been members for nearly 6 months now. When they get to 6 months, they get a nice little badge. So we're going to do a little bit of a celebration when that happens. So kicking it off with the review form, first of all. If you want to complete one of these to have your VOD reviewed by myself as well, it's completely free. All you have to do is submit a form that is linked down in the description below, upload a video to YouTube or Twitch VOD, fill out the form, submit it, and then it'll be on my list to review. If you are a channel member, like this player is here, they are a channel member, they're a Tier 1 channel member, you will get priority over everybody else. So if you want that priority, you feel free to become a member of the channel. So we're reviewing 2112 as their YouTube, or it's Peter Eater in COD, and they play on new gen console 15 hours a week, which is about 2 hours a day. So not massive amounts, but a decent amount of Call of Duty. They play, they're currently hard stack Plat 2, supposedly, and their highest rank last year was Gold 3. So first of all, I want to congratulate you on getting further than you did last year. That's a massive dub. So you should, going up one rank is a good thing, considering that's your highest rank. And if you go up one rank every season, you're going to be looking pretty good. FOV of 105 with sensitivity that looks sensible, so those settings look good. They play on a controller. Their setup looks solid for a console. And what do they want me to focus on in their gameplay? Hi Harrz, first I want to thank you for high quality education you provide in the scene. Your ability to communicate game logic is simply the best. Appreciate that. I'm glad some people find it useful more than anything. The thing I want to improve upon at most is my awareness. Your spawn guys and reps have helped me improve a lot in this area, but I easily get overwhelmed and often struggle with reading pressure. I don't track names, miss red dots on the minimap, and lose sight of teammates. This is probably my best gameplay, even though I'm bottom fragging. Normally, Help with Harrz, I do say don't send your best gameplay in because it's harder to find things that you can learn from, but this is fine. We'll see how they get on. In your opinion, what else do you struggle with when playing BO6 ranked play? My gunny can't hang with diamonds and I shoot bots more than I play ranked. My favourite player is Abizi and I want to be like him when I grow up. Abizi, good player to aspire for, although he is bloody cracked. First of all, when you're in your bots, I'm just going to touch on this before we get into the gameplay itself. When you're shooting bots, you really need to make sure, and you don't find that your gunny is improving, you want to make sure your centering's good. If you can't center your aim onto a player before aiming in, you need to lower your sensitivity or just work on your centering a little bit more, okay? Once your centering is bang on, when you aim in, your aiming should be on the player exactly, and then your first shot should always hit the enemy. If your first shot doesn't hit the enemy, again, it's a question of whether or not you need to change your ADS, or you simply need to warm up a little bit more in that region. Once you start shooting the enemy, you want to make sure that you kill it in an effective amount of bullets. So with the Jackal, it's probably maybe 5 or 6 bullets, depending on the range. Or with the Amers, it's probably maybe 4 or 5 bullets, depending on the range as well. But you really want to make sure that you're doing all of those things step by step, slowly increasing your ability to either do those things naturally or changing your settings about to try and make it a little bit fit. You could probably go 1.5 if you wanted to, or a 0.8 ADS to try and help you out, and that's probably as low as I would go, or maybe a 1.45, but I don't know. That's probably as low as I would go. But maybe try that when you're doing your bot lobby next time, just to get a sense, and that does feel right. So, gameplay. Let's see what we've got. So as I say, it's SMG gameplay on Skyline Hardpoint. So first of all, I like this break off. You're going straight for the hill. You've got an enemy who's just shot you from art. You've got 2 teammates backing you up behind you. You've got another player who's gone top catwalk as well. I like this route to the hill. It means you get there safely. You're now covered by this hot tub. Okay. When you're not sure about where the pressure's coming from, and you hear shots, you literally just need to look at the minimap. And that's when I go, I should probably look at the minimap, is when I'm hearing shots, whether it's my teammate shooting, whether it's the enemy shooting. And that is your cue when you hear it in your headphones or your earplugs to look at the minimap. So you're hearing a lot of shots. What's happening? Where are they? All you need to do is glance. Okay, you either want to glance at where your teammates have or where the enemies are. So from here, you can see that the enemies are bottom art or top cat, depending on how far away they are, but they're in this general vicinity. You can see is this line here, so they're maybe in art or top cat. You've then got 2 players in kitchen, or maybe in that area or around you, and then you're looking for one of the player, but the one of the player who's not shooting is dead, so they're just going to be respawning in at some point. So that's where your traffic's coming from. Okay, your traffic's not coming from necessarily up here for now, or here. It's more coming from this region over here to your right. And you can tell that just by glancing at the minimap and just getting a sense of where the red dots are. Not even your minimap, to be fair. If you look at your radar, this is really easy to use, because you can say, okay, all the red dots are centered to my right, so maybe my attention should be more to my right. And that's something that you can really grasp quite quickly. The most interesting thing about looking at this minimap, though, is you can see where your teammates are watching, and you need to, as a solo queuer, have some trust in what your teammates are doing. And play around them. You can't control them, you can't communicate to them, so you need to look at what they're doing and try and fill the gaps around them. So what you can see here is you've got a player piano who's watching over you, and a player top piano steps looking over you as well. So if we draw this out on a little map quickly, you've got a player piano who looks like to be there watching your top and bottom, which is absolutely fine. Then you have a player top watching your catwalk. So realistically, you don't need to focus on here whatsoever. This shouldn't be a worry for you. Okay, your attention, considering you've just had, you can see 2 red dots here and here, your attention should be more to make sure you can't die from there. And the fact that nobody has your gym is not that that's not stopping them from just going around like this and shooting you. Okay, and I think that's what happens here, from what we've seen before. So summarize what I've just said. When you hear shots, look at the minimap, look at where the red dots are on the radar or your compass, and sort of pivot yourself to that area, especially considering you just got a player dead. And then when you do that, look to where you see your teammates have got and say, okay, my teammates aren't looking at the gym. I know they're coming from that area of the map. I need to put my attention in that area. That's generally speaking what you should be trying to do here. So again, we're so focused on that top bedroom where there's simply no one. And we've ended up dying. I don't mind the use of frags and nades, but they probably should have been faced the other way, because that player's just been allowed to run through gym because nobody's watching it. Thankfully, your teammates have got your trades, which is good. I like the fact we're pushing kitchen here. You've spawned in, you've noticed that there's a gap kitchen. Your teammates have all got the left-hand side. You're going to pick up the right. I really like that. Good use of movement there. Really nice shots. I don't know what you mean about your shots not being good enough. They are some 2 solid kills. So maybe it's a consistency thing. I don't mind this. I don't mind how much we're being aggressive here. You're trying to look for this player. They haven't gone gym. Yeah, you're playing Ring of Roses at this point. But I don't mind this whatsoever. You're being a lurking sub. You're trying to be between where they are spawning and where they need to be, which is the hill. You're watching the kitchen cross. Unfortunately, your teammates have died. And there's, because of how long's left on the hill, I would probably say you need to come back and support your teammates. When your teammates are here, you've got, I'm just going to color them green for the sake of it. You've got a player here, give or take, but they're generally around this area of the map. And the fact that you're here as well means that your teammates have got that area of the map covered, which when they spawn in, when the enemy spawns in, the enemies are going to be spawning in this corner. Don't forget, on Skyline, there are four main corners of the map. And when you're over on this corner, the enemy is more likely to spawn on the opposite corner of the map. So they're going to be spawning here, meaning a lot of their traffic is just going to be through P1, especially considering they've already got that control, meaning they can get through there for free. So what I would probably suggest doing in this situation is that when your teammates are dying, you can tell there's a lot of pressure towards this side, is just pull back. You might do it, I don't know what you're going to do yet, but you really want to try and focus on pulling back here to assist your teammates. And realistically, you're in a position here, you're a little bit weak. The chances of them pushing front is rather slim. Help your teammates out, you can always come back to this position. Yeah, we really want to be pulling back right now. Your teammates spawned out, unfortunately. Let's see what we do here. Okay, not a bad kill. You're playing your life, which I really like. Your teammate Your teammate is there helping you. Unfortunately, you do get killed, but I think they get the trade. Yeah, that's fine. So you responding to the fact that the enemy has a lot of map control at that point where I paused it a minute ago would have enabled you to come back quicker and hopefully help your teammates out a little bit more, and that would have led to you holding the hill time properly and not spawning out like this. The fact that you're spawning out like this, even though your teammates are there, just signals to you that the enemy has got a decent amount of control around the map. I like that stun. It covers anyone coming from the piano side, but what I'd love to see now... Nice kill. Drop a dead nade. You don't need to hold it that much. I'm intrigued as to why we're using frags on the sub. Considering how close we are to the engagements, I think you may fare off better using a Semtex just because you can throw it and dip. But let's see how the rest of the game plays before I give you that advice. So like that, what's quite underrated about what you've done there is that you haven't pushed the front because you know that's where they're going to be expecting you from, and you have no teammates to trade you. So you're waiting for your teammates. You're trying to be difficult, and you're trying to find a different route around. This gunfight is never an easy gunfight to take, especially considering you open yourself up to a bunch of other angles. If someone's on the back steps, you're dead. If someone's sort of over here, you're going to get shot. You're really struggling here for angles. What I would probably do instead is, if you want to apply pressure to the top, run under and try and find a route around the back. That's what you're trying to do here. So what you could have potentially done is, I can't draw it on the screen, but run down the piano and maybe gone back around the backside here and maybe come at the top steps, because they wouldn't have been watching that realistically. So that would have been a nice little play. You can either you just got to your teammate here, run through running under lounge. You could then duo push the left-hand side, but it's all about trying to navigate the map and try and find a sneaky way through or get to your team, and that's probably what would have been a better push in that situation. As far as map awareness is concerned, I haven't seen anything too worrisome yet, other than that first little play on P1. Your teammates just got a couple of good kills. Nice, your teammates just spawned in, which tells you that you don't need to look that way. You've realised that. Again, really good awareness from you there. So cool up this hill time. This is good scrap. Why not? Okay, I love this route. You're almost guaranteeing good spawns for the next hill, so long as you win these gunfights. You do. You're back here. Those three enemies are going to be spawning piano now, because you're blocking that spawn. Your teammates are blocking the spawn to the left. They're going to be coming from this way over here to your right. But nice, you're supporting the team. You're throwing your pre-nades and pre-stuns. You've got your trophy out. Really nice angle there. Love what I'm seeing. You had time to probably reload there. So I think you're probably fine to reload. You saw people in miles away, and then you tried to shoot them. I think you could have been safer to reload there. I know it's hard to decide sometimes, but you've got, at this point here, you just killed 3 people. Teammate gets the 3rd kill. Reload. That's 3 people coming off spawn. You've got a 2.5 second spawn delay. Then they've got to get to the hill from their spawn. You have plenty of time to reload. When you get 3 down and you've got bullets that you can replenish your gun with, that's probably when you want to reload. Worst case scenario, when it's 3 down and you die from that last player, your teammates are going to trade you out anyway. So realistically, you get 3 down, that's a safe time to reload. But I do like the fact that you're using your stuns and nades. But you could have done that after you reloaded. That would probably been the better way to do it. And the pistol's crap. So, and I know the pros put out the pistols a lot. And if you watch a BZ's gameplay, you see them absolutely beam people with pistols. But that's because they put 40 hours a week minimum into scrimming, playing against the best of the best, and using it against that. So it's going to be very different when you try and do the same thing. But it's fine. So I'm really liking this, actually. The way the routes you're taking around the map do influence the spawns for your team better. And I think that's probably being undervalued by you. But you've got a really good sense of where the enemy's coming from. And I don't feel like when you say map awareness, pause that just there. When you say map awareness, I'm struggling to see a weakness in map awareness yet. This is better awareness than I see a lot of people, even in Crimson, have, at least in the European lobbies. Snaking-wise, I'm assuming that's what you're trying to do here. Don't wait until your belly hits the floor before standing back up. Maybe shorten the gap between those, the time you crouch or lay down and the time you stand for, because you're hitting the full motion, and you don't want to do that. You want it to be a little bit quicker. This is really nice. We're holding the cutoff between the hill and where they're spawning. Really like this. This is really undervalued, and I don't see this enough. And I'm surprised at this point of the gameplay, maybe you do something horrendous. I'm surprised you're only plat 2, considering the awareness you do have. Nice, you got in the trade. You knew where they were. You know. So I really don't like this bath corner. It's great if you can guarantee people watching over you are going to get their kills, but at the point when you're in this bath corner, you've got to really trust your teammates to have this left door and you watch this bedroom push. And unless you're crouched or on the real nice header you can get in the bath, sometimes it's not a great place. And it's if you're coming around this corner and you're challenging P4, what's the first place you pre-aim? I promise you, well, it should be probably the bathtub. And that's because it's quite a common place to spot. This is a good spot, but it's readable. And it means that you're probably going to get pre-fired and, you know, you're going to end up in the mud quite a bit. That's nice. Your teammates are just spawned in behind you. This is a corner that I prefer because you get notified if they come in from the left because of the shadow. But then you'll get notified if they come in on the right because they'll hit the time. Love that. Really, really, really undervalued there. So this is really good gameplay. So you've just seen your enemies all die. You're the only one on the hill. Realistically, you're dead at this point because they know exactly where you are. You have an idea where two of them are, with one spawning in and one elsewhere. So you've decided to just play safe, get out the hill, and try and at least get one kill. And you do a really nice job of that there. That's something that I don't see enough, even in the higher lobbies. So yeah, really, really solid there. So the kills you're getting, I know you say you bottom frag in this game, the kills you're getting are really important. So if there was like a multiplier for important kills, you'd be well ahead. Now, going back to this, and this is going to be a little bit of a micro. When you're laid against a wall and you're laid in a really tight corner, it's really hard to keep your aim on when you're moving, when you're trying to pivot, when you're trying to strafe in that lay down position, because your body will clash. You'll get prone blocked and then you can't quite move properly. So if you're ever in a corner like this, just stand up, because laying down in a corner is never good for your aim, because it can just throw off at any point in the game determines you're too close to the wall and you're laying down, so it just ping you to the side a little bit. So whenever you're in a corner like that, just play standing up. You would have probably got that kill standing up. That's all I'm trying to say. Nice shots again. The only unfortunate thing about this positioning is that you're just open. You're very, very open here. Now, when you're working your way to the hill, I think this would work if you were an AR player. Don't get me wrong. If you were an AR player, I think this would have been favourable because you're on lines of sight, although you have opened yourself up way too much. But as you're approaching this, where you really want to make sure that you're clearing areas as you progress up to this point. So your objective here is clearly to get to P1. Okay, that's clearly what you're trying to do. And as you do that, you want to try and make sure that you've got someone on your right. I mean, you did have someone on your right, but as soon as you hear your teammate taking shots to your right, that tells you there's an enemy there, or at least there could be an enemy there, and that should be your point. Leave this gunfight, turn and challenge this guy, and then you can progress with this one here. But you're in a real tight situation. Your teammates are all dead, so realistically you're going to get traded out anyway. You get one kill, you'd probably be traded by the other. Pulled out the AR. Interestingly for this hill, which I don't mind, and weirdly your Semtexes are on the AR rather than the sub, but is what it is. Nice shots from you there. Interesting to see how we break that. So that you know they're not under you, which means they have to be laying down to the side of the hot tub there. Yeah, they'd have been just laying down the other side. Trust yourself. If you've not seen them under you, they can't be there. Good. I thought you were going to just join them at P1, and that would have been a mistake. What you're doing here is spreading your defense, and now this player in kitchen can't get through for free. We're moving a bit too much, so let me just break down this engagement. So first of all, I love the fact that you're challenging the kitchen here rather than just helping out at P1. Your teammates clearly don't need help P1. They've just got a few kills. You've got, you've gone kitchen because that's a gap that's open, which I like. So you've got a player who is just pushing you. You notice there's a player on your right. Yeah, I didn't know there was two there, to be fair. Where's that player come from? It probably comes from the counter. Yeah, it is that player. He slides under here. You can see his little head, and then they join them. So in this situation, you know there's a player, or maybe you don't know there's a player, actually, to be fair. I'm assuming you don't. So you challenge this guy, you see them go behind the desk. I don't think you see the player that's just come around the corner. So that slide would have worked out real good timing wise for this player. And I just don't think you expected that player there. So I'm going to assume that was the case. But if I'm not sure, but if you did see this play and that's how you were challenging it, probably would have done it a different way. You probably should have jumped out and challenged him rather than slide. But I think you were trying to challenge this player and didn't know this player was there, but that's fine. That's just a timing issue. So they're going to spawn you out because they've just got through. I actually don't mind this route, because if you can just leak through to the back some way, shape or form, you're going to be spawning them out. I don't like that massively. So your teammates have all pretty much died. Okay, it's almost like a full reset. They're all on the floor above you. And there's not really, based on where they're moving, you can tell this player's in the gym, this player's pushing kitchen. If you challenge this hill and you haven't killed any players, you haven't killed any enemies, okay? So you did this really nice at the start where you had a good idea of it's going to be a 1v4 basically. I'd have loved to have seen that logic used here, because you've basically just jumped into a trap. What you probably should have done is jumped up here, tried to support your player through piano, so there may be an enemy on the piano, so you could have jumped up here, killed the player piano if there was a player there, and helped this player gym to push through. Or once you've done that, you can then push out this left-hand side, try and clear this back left side. It's all about you trying to open up the map for the rest of your players to get through in these real tight situations that you're in. Instead of just jumping in the hill, you would have been far better off getting into their spawn and allowing your team to get into the spawn, and then pulling back and challenging the hill, spawning your team all the way out. The enemy all the way out. Instead, we've just unfortunately died there. We probably would have been traded out even if we had the kill. Nice 2Bs from the team. You're now spawning on you. They're now spawning behind you. A good trade. I'm not sure why that exploded so quickly. So I think something happened to make that explode, whether an enemy shot it or an enemy threw a nade at it, or there was a trophy there, or something. I don't think that's your fault. Although it looks like it is, and your teammate's probably screaming at you. Okay, I don't think I mind this. So yeah, you're trying to react here. It was a good play, assuming you were trying to trust that your teammate wouldn't die at the back, and they did. So it is what it is. Nice. Your teammate's got a couple of two-piece there. You're looking for one player. Bosh. Yeah. So this player's just laying down. Now, where this player's laying down now, which tells you that you can probably approach them without going around the left, because they're not going to see you doing it. Okay, so you could literally probably jump on the hot tub here for free, and the fact they're laying down there, you should have probably read they were going to be watching this area, because that's all they can do when they're laying down. This for me, I'm either jumping over the hot tub and just trying to beam them from above, or instead of jumping over here, because it's a really hard engagement to challenge from this direction, I'm just going up to the hot tub and sliding out like whew, down there, and then challenging them like so. Yeah, it's a fairly obvious push from you. That's fine. So you are playing diamond players, by the way. The game clearly thinks you're better than you are. I'm surprised you're Harrz. Like, if you're honestly getting 30 SR in Plat 2, I am very, very surprised, because you're playing like this. You're playing so smart. You've taken damage. You're waiting for your team while they're trying to focus on finishing your kill. So good. Good read as well. You know where they're coming from. You're not second guessing yourself too much here. You got them weak. You're trying to apply that pressure. You're playing your life perfectly. This is a real nice piece of gameplay right now. Pick up a gun. I promise you. There's guns on the floor everywhere. This is fine. You pick up the pistol is crap. I promise you, the pistol is really crap. As soon as you kill this guy, pick up another gun. You walked over a few here that you could have picked up. The pistol's really, really terrible.
Hardpoint located. Hostiles have the hardpoint.
Good kill. Yeah, that's tough. You're always going to get traded there. And I don't mind the late pressure to the hill, but I think they're in the back. Yes. Again, nice pre-nade, nice stun out there. We don't need to join the player on the hill. If anything, you need to, now we've just had 3 dead, you need to be trying to cut them off. You need to be aggressive. You need to be the first line of defense before they get even anywhere near the hill. So that might mean pushing out into art a little bit, playing a little bit of a creddy corner in art. That might mean going up top and trying to watch the catwalk, something like that. Being in here with your teammate doesn't benefit your team whatsoever. Because now you're like, the 2 remaining people on your team are now just sucked into this tiny little room where they know where you are because the hill's clearly got you in it. More good shots. Nice reload there. Again, you've got way too many people in the hill, but again, we're somehow managing. Your teammates should be pushing out here. Nice. Okay, this is fine. I'm now happy with you being in the hill by yourself. This is a solid hold. Really, really good hold. Don't challenge that. They're probably already on that heady. Wait for them to come in, which you've done. Love it. Good. Go, go, go. That's it. Team's gone. That's a big 5 there. Big 5. Okay, that was a solid hold of the hill. I'd like to see you maybe get a little bit more aggressive pushing out of the hill, letting your teammate just soak up the time behind you. But that's absolutely fine. Interesting, pulled out the KSV for quite a long-range hill. It's a similar thing when you push P1 again. So you've got absolutely no cover from your teammates. Again, you're hearing shots. You know there's 2 people bedroom side. You know there's a player on the hill. And you don't know where all the enemies are. So you can't assume they're not anywhere. And the fact that your teammates don't have any other map control other than top piano, top P2, and literally to your right, you need to be much more careful approaching the hill. You need to say, okay, my teammate's got the top. They're going to be looking over me. And once you've shouldered this enough and you've established that this area is clear, the next place you watch is your right. You really need to be checking your right because you know your teammates aren't there. So your awareness, you should have gone, okay, I know where 3 of them are. Where's the other player who's somehow just out of the action somewhere? In my head, they're either kitchen, underground, or right to your right. So as you're pushing this, it's almost just worth checking your right. And that would probably, you'd have been fine there because they pretty much just got a free kill. It's oftentimes it is just looking at how many red dots you can see on the minimap and saying, okay, there's 3 there. Where could the last one be? And it's no, even if the last one has just spawned in, there's no harm being a little bit more cautious because you're still looking for 1 player. Worst case scenario, you're wrong and you've misread the kill feed. They're off spawning, you're still checking things anyway, which only takes up a millisecond of your time. Worst case scenario, you're correct and you haven't checked, and then you just get killed like that. So it's always worth just counting how many people you see on the minimap on the enemy team, and if you're not seeing all 4 players, wonder where the other one is and be a bit conscious of where they could be. Good job you died there because otherwise you'd have, spawned them in P2. Not 100% sure about the AR play here, but we'll see how it plays off. We love to get on the hill. So you've just seen your player get on the hill here. All you needed to do is look over them. You've joined them on the hill, potentially incorrectly, and you're just not quite aware again of that player who's killed you multiple times in the gym, even though you know, as you're running to this, no one's top bed, no one's bottom bed, no one's arcs, otherwise you're dead at this point. You really need to be checking your right here as you're approaching P1, or just at least making sure they're not coming from that way. But I don't think you should have even been pushing P1. I get your teammate may have needed help, but at best case scenario, you're winning 15 seconds, 10 seconds maybe. What you should have done is maybe sat back a bit, especially considering you have an AR in your pocket. Sit back a little bit and just look over your teammate and allow them to get those 10 seconds of scrap. You'd have seen that player coming from the side. You'd have managed to kill them.
Hostiles have captured the hard point.
Okay, pulled out the KSV now. Good kill. That's 3 down. Looking for 1. Same player on the hill. Okay, nice. Still looking for that 1 player. So, we left that gunfight with 10 bullets. You then have 3 players down and you have 10 bullets. There's 1 player left. It's a 3 versus 1 reload. Okay, it's a 3v1 well, maybe, yeah, so 3v1, reload. You've got 10 bullets in your magazine. You've got time to do it. You've got 3 enemies coming off spawn. So again, it's another 2.5 second spawn delay plus their journey to the hill time. Reload. If this guy somehow ends up killing you, which they're not because you know exactly where they are, they're at the back of the spawn somewhere, you have time.
Hardpoint is secure. Hostiles have the hardpoint. Hardpoint locked down.
Yeah, that player did the enemy there did a really nice play of just blocking the spawn long enough for your
Hardpoint is secure.
team to spawn out, enabling their team to get there in time. So that was a real good play from them. But again, you probably would have won that gunfight if you had bullets and you had plenty of time to reload. I want to see you turning around. Nice. Turn around, turn around.
Locked down.
Yep, they're going to be coming from Kitch.
Taking the lead. Stay on
That's it.
task.
I don't mind the dead nades. Nice. Good kill. Your awareness is good. I've got to be honest, your awareness is good. There is some questionable decision making there. Don't know how you've lost that. Tough. You'd have done well to win that, to be fair.
Hostiles have the hardpoint.
Nice, catch him off guard, win that scrap time. Easy kill. Progress up the map.
Hardpoint active.
Again, I really don't think your shots are bad. And your ability to play your life has been excellent so far. It's those decisions. So you've just run out, you've come out of cover, throwing an aid. You could always cancel your frag. It's like a Semtex now in this game. If you just press triangle or Y, you put the frag back in your back pocket and you can move on with your day. You don't need to throw. You don't need to commit to it, especially if it means coming out of cover weak, because you're still half health down here. You're still got half a bar of health. You're coming out of cover. You're exposing yourself to top. You're exposing yourself to kitchen. You're exposing yourself to P1, R, and bottom bedroom. Just to throw a nade, and you have 7 bullets in your magazine. So even if you threw this nade and got away with it, you've then got 7 bullets to regain your health. Deprioritize the amount of times you're throwing your nade here, I think. Okay, this is a really hard push for the sub because you've got to lick people off a heady, and it's going to be really difficult.
We've given up the lead.
So you know there's a guy here. I'd have just pressed that guy. I'm not sure why you decided to leave that guy there. It's a free kill for you. You should have probably gone for them, and they'd have probably killed you anyway. But at least you'd have come out with a kill. But when you're approaching this with a sub, you may as well just try and throw the frag. Just jiggle it and then throw the frag and then get back into cover. That's probably what I would suggest doing, especially similar to what you did with the stun, just with a frag grenade. But it's good pressure. Your teammates were pinching. You allowed your teammates to get up to the hill because of your pressure. Really, really, really solid decision making there. Instead of pushing through bedroom, you decided to block the spawns for the players that are spawning in on the enemy team. They're now going to continue to spawn front because you were blocking the spawn as you were doing that, as they spawned in. And again, you're very conscious of the fact that they're going to be spawning in and you've got no one blocking. So even though you're a sub, you're still taking on that role. And I probably would now turn and try and go to the new hill if I were you. Yes.
Hostiles have the hardpoint.
Good read.
Hardpoint
Good read.
Hardpoint is secure.
Again, we're hopping on the point with a teammate. We've left this left lane open. There's no one watching, so I'd love to see you come around and just watch this left lane. In any case, you won the hill.
Helos on the way.
Solid gameplay. I think you undervalue yourself massively. You've played against 2 diamonds and 2 plats, and you've done almost double positive. Not quite double positive, but a decent KD. Good amount of hill time. So let's do a little bit of a summary.
Point is secure.
So, turn this down. Let me just turn down the volume a little bit.
Hostiles have the hardpoint.
Actually, I'm not. I'm going to leave that up. What I love. I think your shots are decent. There's so many situations just like the one I've just seen there where you get some really, really, really good kills. And I think your trouble with when you say your shots can be off sometimes is consistency. I say, you say you shoot bots more than you do people.
Have captured the hardpoint.
That's great. And maybe it's just a simple fact that you're only playing 15 hours a week and you're comparing yourself to the likes of a Beezy who plays 40, 50 hours a week minimum to your shots. Like you got to have a good, consistent level of gaming in order to hit the shots you want to hit. And if you don't play a lot, which is fine, you're not a pro gamer, you don't make a living off it, it's absolutely fair enough. You've got to give yourself a little bit of slack. Your shots are decent, okay? You're plat 2, your shots are actually better than I'd expected, considering what you said in the form. So give yourself, cut yourself a little bit of slack for that. I think you're better than you probably believe. Your position and your map awareness as well is very good. There's so many times you're accounting for the spawns and you're trying to, defend the spawns, you're trying to block, you pull back to try and block and things like that. Really, 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 really nice. There are a few things that are letting you down, especially that I noticed in this gameplay. It's not the worst gameplay I don't think you could have submitted. It's a good one. You get the dub, you play well, blah 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 blah. So I could have probably found more nitpicks in a worse gameplay against maybe better players. But your decision making sometimes is letting you down. So when you're approaching a hill, like when you approach P2, sometimes you're just taking the obvious route to the hill. You're trying to take on the obvious gunfights, and with a sub, oftentimes that means you're coming across an AR or someone who's sat on a heady, and you got to try and beam them off a heady with a sub. Like there's a point where you push piano, and they were just there waiting for you. Try and take a route through the spawn. It's your responsibility as well as others to break the spawn. Now I say you're good at holding the spawn, which is accurate. I think you are good at holding the spawn you've currently got, but you really need to try and do better, especially on the P2 on this, to try and get around the back and break the spawn. I don't think there was one point on P2 where you decided to go around the back helipad way to try and break the spawn. So I think that's one thing we could probably do better. You could also you could work on your timings for nades and reloading. There's so many times here where you didn't reload when you had plenty of opportunity and plenty of time to reload, and it eventually got you killed. You'd have got kills that you otherwise didn't get because you were trying to get the kills with a pistol, but that's absolutely fine. It's a small thing. It's a small thing. Frags and stuns I think you use pretty well. Maybe try and guarantee that you're in cover when you do throw them. And yeah, I think you'd be good then. And then the other thing is simply your decision making. You don't need to get on the hill time with a player who's already on the hill time. Pick a lane. You did it. It's weird. It's inconsistent. You did it sometimes. The other times you failed to do it. But there were so many occasions where you just jumped on the hill with your team. You jumped on an angle that another player on your team was watching, and it left a little bit of a gap in the setup. And then once you got settled on the hill, just like here, for example, you should just be flooding out here. You should get these kills, flood out, let the players who are behind you, who have not got the map control, let them get the hill whilst you push up and obtain map control. That is the difference between a real high-level sub compared to one that's just happy to sit in the hill and soak. You should be like, these are my kills. I need to own these kills and push out. Obviously, work on your timings because you don't want to be running into people just running at you. Unless you're pre-aiming them, of course, that'd be great. But you need to be the driver of, you know what, I'm going to get every kill between where they're spawning and where they need to be. I'm going to position myself in a corner, get a couple kills, move corner, get a couple kills, move corner, eventually die, but then re-wrap that again and allow your teammates to push out when you've come off spawn. Be a little bit more selfish, I'm saying, if you want to really excel as that Slayer sub role that you say like a Beezy. So that'll do for me. I can't believe you're not Diamond, I've got to be honest. I've seen worse players in Diamond. Maybe it's just a grind thing. But I definitely see you hitting Diamond this season. I'd be very surprised if you don't. Have trust in your ability. You're better than you think you are. And as I say, I'm surprised you're Harrz at Plat 2. That'll do from me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now.